Well, the federal government certainly has money problems, so do we here in Arizona, but the state's nearly $1 billion budget shortfall may actually be an opportunity. So says Darcy Olsen, the president and CEO of the Phoenix-based Goldwater Institute, which bills itself as a nonprofit research organization developing policy solutions that foster economic and educational freedom. Ms. Olsen, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Bill.
Where's the silver lining in this budget mess up at the Capitol?
Well, the silver lining is that one is it's manageable, it is solvable. And the other thing is it's a great time to take a look and say, whoa, how did we get here? And is all of the spending that we're doing and the way that we're handling things the right way to go about it? So it's a great time to reassess what we've been spending on and to take stock.
And one of your 100 ideas for 100 days talks about government spending.
It does. And one of the things that we've found in Arizona is that, today we have this $1 billion deficit. Over the past 5 years, spending has increased 30%. And if we had just kept spending in line with population growth, to keep up with the people who are here and coming here, we would have a $1.5 billion surplus today. So we've just had this tremendous run-up in spending, and now it's time for lawmakers to take a look at that and say, whoa, where's all the money been going? What are we getting for it? And where can we cut back?
And I think the lawmakers, though, will say that, well, the reason it's going up is because look at the way the state is growing. It's this growth. We've got to take care of that.
Well, and that 30%, it's actually 32%, is over and above the population growth and inflation. So I don't know how many of us have incomes that were 30% higher than they were just a few years ago, but that's an extraordinary run-up. That's what's gotten us into this problem. Now, the good news is we have a lot of solutions for getting out. One of them, though, is not issuing more debt, and unfortunately, the Napolitano administration is trying to solve part of this by issuing a lot of new debt and hoping that future taxpayers can pay this off in future years.
So you're a big advocate of actually pay as you go.
Right.
But again, on the other side, they would argue that, well, look, as consumers, we run up credit card debt like mad, so I guess why shouldn't the state go the same way?
Well, as you might know, if you've ever been in a financial pinch, the last thing you want to do is get another credit card when you're having trouble. The first thing you're supposed to do is look at your expenses. And one of the things is, you could, for instance, do a 10% across-the-board cut in some of the major agencies, and they would still have more money than they had just 3 years ago, 10% more money. And this is over and above, again, the needs of the population growth. So we can't overstate the run-up in spending. Our state spending in Arizona is now on par with Massachusetts. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
And spending under the Napolitano administration has been faster in Arizona than any of the 5 governors preceding her. So this has just been unprecedented in our history, and now we're paying the price with this $1 billion deficit.
Let's look at some of these other 100 ideas, some of the other areas you talk about. Not only you mentioned, we've talked about government spending. What about tax policy?
Well, tax policy is very important. In fact, there is a tax right now that they're talking is very similar to what's happening at the federal level. There is a state property tax that you pay on your home. Every business owner out there pays. Well, there's been a temporary hiatus on that, and we're hoping to make that permanent this year, to not reinstate that tax, because that would be one of the largest tax increases in Arizona history. So that's an idea we hope will be moved off the table, and that we can look at some creative solutions to actually close that $1 billion hole.
How about the education area?
Well, that's a great area. We have all of these public schools that need funding, but right alongside them there are all of these private schools in the state, charter schools, already built, already have facilities, and they have open seats. And so one of the things we've said is, why not let some of these students take some of their state taxpayer dollars and take these available seats in these underutilized schools, and it'll save the taxpayers money, it'll get these kids in good schools right away and relieve overcrowding, and it will help with the budget deficit.
How about health and transportation?
Great ideas there as well. In transportation, for instance, one thing that a lot of the other states, California, Texas, who also face the same transportation needs that we do, that they have done is when they need a new road, and we need many, right, between Tucson and Phoenix and Flagstaff, the commuters in the east and the west are saying they need roads in, is instead of having the state build those roads, to bid out to private companies who would then build the roads. They pay for the cost, they do all of the building, they manage everything in exchange for putting tolls on the roads, and then we pay back through tolls for a limited period of time.
And that's been very successful in some other states, hasn't it?
Hugely successful, and it's very popular with people because these are not your mom and dad's toll roads where you have to stop and it's really slow. You get a little pass card, you can drive right through, it's electronic, and it's like a debit card. And so what that does is it also means that the people who use the roads will pay for the roads. And that's also nice, too, so that if you're living in Kingman, maybe you don't want to have to pay for a road down here.
And as far as the remaining 30 seconds, how is the Institute doing?
Well, just great. We thank all of our supporters. We launched a litigation center this past summer, and so now, in addition to the research and recommendations we make for policymakers, when cities or authorities overstep their constitutional boundaries, we can take them right into court and make sure they're respecting our liberties.
And if someone wants more information, they can go to the goldwaterinstitute.org.
Right? .org. Thank you.
Darcy Olsen, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Bill.